Welcome to the Forces Sports Show, your weekly roundup of the best action and biggest stories from across the services. Coming up in the next half hour. A shift in gear for the Invictus Games. A new racing team joins the British GT Championship. Ooh. Top pick were with the Forces finest selected for the Winter Paralympics. And up for the Cup, the Royal Engineers lay down a marker for the Army Intercorps title. We start with a big change of pace in Forces motorsport. 4 injured British servicemen are being given the opportunity to drive in this season's British GT Championship for the brand new Invictus Games racing team. The men, 2 from the Royal Marines and 1 from the Army and RAF, will compete in specially developed Jaguar adapted cars. The entire project was kept under wraps for more than a year. A warning, this report from the launch event at the Autosport Show in Birmingham does contain some flashing images.
And this will be one of 2 Invictus Games racing supercars that will compete in the British GT Championships in the GT4 division.
The wraps finally coming off one of the most closely guarded secrets in British motorsport for years. The Invictus Games racing team, 4 servicemen who've recovered from serious injuries, will be driving Jaguar's first specially built racing sports cars for 50 years in the British GT Championship. Their reaction at seeing the car for the first time summed up in one word: wow.
Wow, indeed. I mean, look at this. What a weapon. Just really lucky, I suppose. I mean, my athlete days from Invictus was sort of coming to an end anyway, you know, a bit older, a bit rounder. So, yeah, just what else? What a better way to throw yourself into something new, you know? And I can't wait to get out of it.
All the drivers have been selected after extensive selection programmes done by Mission Motorsport, and they'll need to be good.
Through Mission Motorsport, I was introduced to Caterham in 2014, and I've just raced for 4 years in the Caterham series. So I've done about 60 races, and although it's a big jump up to British GT, I'm really looking forward to it and hoping I can translate my success in Caterham racing across to British GT for the Invictus Games racing team.
Car 22 will be driven by the RAF's Ben Norfolk and 2 Para's Basil Rawlinson. The F-Type SVR Jaguars are being completely redesigned and upgraded from the bottom up. Engine, transmission, suspension, the lot, and will be capable of doing over 200 miles an hour, making this team serious players in the coming season.
The opportunity to be a part of a small, really tight team again, with a purpose like we have to get involved on a project to this level is humbling to know that people are supporting us in the way that they are.
It's the brainchild of Superdry clothing magnate James Holder, who, inspired by the Invictus Games, has funded the entire project, created by Jaguar Land Rover's Special Projects Department, who he commissioned to make the cars.
These guys are so inspirational, it's absolutely incredible. I cannot explain what an honour it is to be working with these guys. And you know, the guys at Mission Motorsport who kind of held the selection events and got them down to the 4 guys that we see today, just the training them through it, and obviously they'll be looking after the guys through the season as well. They're doing such excellent work, not only with this project but with everyone else. So huge thank you to those guys as well.
This one especially is probably the most rewarding for me personally, because you create a car, everyone gets excited about it, but not only that, you get to meet these extraordinary people that are going to have already endured some harrowing experiences, but have come through all that, and they're going to go back in and get back into the competition, and it's just so inspiring.
The military drivers will be supported by professional racing drivers Jason Wolfe and Matthew George.
I've been involved in the project for over a year now. I've seen the car go from an idea in James's head to bits and pieces on bits of paper, all the way to the finished product. So it's going to be exciting to get out on a more wider stage. Everything we've done so far has been massively behind closed doors, but looking forward to it and looking forward to getting out with the guys and seeing what they can do as well.
It's captured the imagination of the entire motorsport world, proving why the Invictus brand is so successful.
It's incredible. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. When you look at the backstories of all the guys racing, there's such a human interest element to this already before we've done any racing. And then, as you say, if you combine the technology of the car that's been specially adapted and modified to be a racing car, supercar, it's astonishing. I mean, it begs the question why it hasn't been done before, but as with all good ideas, you always say, yes, why didn't I think of that?
Good luck to them at the start of this 3-year project. Their first race will be at Alton Park at the end of March. Now to the Paralympics, where Team GB has named its first athletes for the upcoming Winter Games in South Korea. They include Owen Pick on the snowboard team, an Afghanistan veteran who lost his right leg in an IED at the age of 18. Kath Brazier spent the day with Owen in the French Alps.
Owen Pick knew nothing of snowboarding before he was blown up in 2010. Almost exactly 8 years on, he's on the cusp of Paralympic glory.
If I was given a second chance, would I change it? No, because yes, what happened to me was a bit, but actually what is sort of the opportunities I've had and what I've done with those opportunities to be able to live the life that I live now, being in places like this where it's snowing right this second is just incredible.
Safe to say the sport has taken over his life, but with that has come a huge support network, stretching from family and friends in Cambridge to his second home in the French Alps, Tignes.
Tignes has been incredible, I started coming here 2 years ago just by chance, and met so many incredible people. James Sweet was one of the people, Will Hughes, and they both just kind of took me under their wing, introduced me to other people like Scove and all that, introduced me to the shop, and the shop now helped me out a lot, just keeping things really, really cheap for me because obviously it's expensive. But the most important thing is there's always people here to ride with that inspire me, and every time I come out I can be like, oh hey guys, what are you doing? Can we go shred? Yeah, cool, and it's people I love riding with, so and that helps me a lot.
Friends like James Sweet.
That was cool.
Who's been fine-tuning Owen's riding skills prior to his biggest competition yet.
If you were to just watch him ride around a mountain, you wouldn't know. He looks as good as anyone else out there, and in fact, in the last 18 months, I've just seen huge changes. And a lot of that's to do with his experience and the training he's getting, on a week-by-week basis. He adapts very fast, and to see him pretty relaxed and riding the way he's riding, I'm confident he's going to have a great shot at hopefully getting on the podium.
We first met Owen at the Forces Snow Sports Championships in Maribel in 2015, where he was racing against able-bodied military athletes. He'd just returned from the X Games, and Para-Snowboard had enjoyed its Paralympic debut in Sochi the winter before. Having already enjoyed success at the World Championships in Pyeongchang, he'll be competing in snowboard cross and bank slalom.
It's getting close and it's getting real now, but it's cool. It's not scaring me, it's not really making me nervous, I'm excited.
The Paralympics get underway on the 9th of March. Owen's events are on the 12th and the 16th.
We'll have more build-up to the Winter Paralympics later in the programme, but now to Rugby Union. The Royal Engineers have moved a step closer to regaining the Army's Intercorps Championship title. They came from behind to claim a bonus points victory against the Infantry. Julian Evans now reports from Aldershot.
The Royal Engineers have a proud history of success in the Intercorps Championship, and having missed out on the title last year, they are doing all they can to secure glory this season. Steph Wilson combined with Dangerman P. Patuelli, and the speedster scooted in for the game's opening converted try. But the Infantry wasted little time before they hit back. With line-out balls safely secured, Richie Smart powered his way over the line for a try. An enthralling first half then featured the Sappers' former Fijian scrum half, Aparosa Vata, display his cunning and guile to dive in under the posts to help edge his team in front, 14 points to 7. The Infantry's impressive pack rallied to help restore parity. Far from the prettiest of tries scored this season, they were rewarded for their endeavour as skipper Karen McMillan emerged with the ball. Moments later, they were in front. If the previous effort was a case of scoring ugly, this time they conjured up something far more eye-catching as winger Tuolagi plucked out McMillan to canter home for his second try. The infantrymen weren't finished. Just before the break, giant second row Sam Ashton ghosted in for his team's fourth try and a 26-14 half-time lead. The second half, however, belonged to the Engineers as they scored 27 unanswered points, the first coming from a converted try from front row man Withers. Wilson had added a penalty for the Sappers, closing the points gap to 26-21 before the galloping David Bowman charged in for the try and the lead. The Engineers grabbed another try before the end as Pettoelli made the most of some tired infantry defence to claim a bonus point victory. A final score of 41-26 to the Sappers means they top the table. But with arch rivals the Royal Artillery up next, there is still plenty to focus on as they inch towards a place in the final.
Sapper Gunner is always a good game to play in, really tough game, and you know, we come out, we've got a more comfortable lead going in now with the bonus point, so yeah, we'll still stay strong and hope to get winners as well.
Yeah, looking at the table, you'll want to finish this season on a high, so
yeah.
One eye on the final already or not getting carried away just yet?
Both eyes on the final, we know what we want to get, so we want that final place, yeah.
The Sappers and Gunners go head to head on the 7th of February.
Well, as for the Winter Paralympics, Great Britain will be competing in a record 5 sports, with the team aiming to beat the medal haul of 6 in Sochi 4 years ago. Both of the visually impaired alpine skiers named in the squad have military guides. Kath caught up with the pairs on the GB selection day at the Snow Centre in Hemel Hempstead.
The Paralympics is like no other race, and I think that experience that I've taken from Sochi, I think will really help both myself and Brett for 2018.
Would you say you're the boss of him?
No. when it comes to skiing and being on the slopes, Brett is definitely very much in charge.
Okay, and Brett, is that right?
Yeah, I definitely say I'm in charge when we're on the slopes.
And what is the relationship? I know that you guys are basically like brother and sister, very close.
Yeah, so when we're actually skiing, we're connected via Bluetooth headset. So I basically tell Mel everything that I can see, everything that's coming up. She repeats back to me if she needs me to speed up or she needs me to slow down. But in terms of the relationship, I think someone we worked on really hard over the summer. I went down and stayed with Millie with my girlfriend for 2 weeks, went to concerts, and I think it's really important to have that relationship off the slope as well as on the slope. It's not just a 9-to-5 job.
Our relationship is so tight. We actually share rooms as well, so we're with each other 22 hours of the day. So let's just say we get on.
And that success and the success you've had is based on that?
Yeah, definitely. If you watch all the top-end visually impaired ski racing teams, they're all been together a very long time and have that special bond with their guide, and I'm glad to say we do.
And Jen, just coming to you last, great relationship, but it's good that you're obviously representing Paralympics GB, the cold's getting to me now, but also you must feel like you're representing the military as well, you and Brett.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a privilege to represent, to be standing here as a military personnel and to be able to stand up and wear GB colours. So flying the flag not only for the armed forces but also for our country, because what we do, you know, we are hopefully inspiring other people, both in the military, that it's possible to go and compete at the highest level of sport, and also to inspire other people who might not have given visually impaired skiing a try to go and get them involved in the sport as well. So I think we're really proud to be ambassadors for all of those things.
Clearly we took a massive step forwards as a Paralympics GB in Sochi, and I think it was unprecedented in terms of that level of success. I think that what we should focus on is that the preparation of the athletes this cycle has been better than it's ever been. So we will go to Pyeongchang with a best ever prepared Winter Paralympics GB team. But I think that we should also be mindful that the margins of success and being less successful are very fine, both on snow and ice.
There are obviously a lot of new faces in the team, and a few of those are the snowboarders, because this is the first time that GB will be able to represent snowboarding at the Paralympics Games.
Yeah, I mean, hugely exciting. I mean, they're a great bunch of guys that have been selected so far. You know, they're world medalists, world champions, World Cup medalists. So I think that it always enhances the success potential when you've got either more than one athlete in a class, like you've got in the VI women, but also in the skiers, but also in the snowboarders, where you've got 3 guys who are all looking and hoping for medal potential.
Lieutenant Scott Sears is back with his regiment, the Royal Gurkha Rifles, after becoming the youngest person ever to walk solo to the South Pole. The former Army tennis champion and the brother-in-law of Andy Murray trekked across the ice for 45 days over Christmas. He's also raised thousands of pounds for charity. Victoria Smith reports.
Lieutenant Scott Sears trekked more than 1,000 kilometres in temperatures of minus 50 Celsius. Not bad for a 27-year-old who can't actually ski. Now he's broken a world record, reaching the South Pole on Christmas Day after 45 days completely alone. So what's it like to be back home?
Yeah, very, very nice to be back. Get plenty of food in me, to be honest. That's what I'm most excited about being home.
Scott lost 10 kilos of body weight on the trek, and the lack of food was one of his biggest challenges.
In the middle of the night, I couldn't handle it anymore. I was like, I'm going to break into tomorrow, so I'm going to get myself a piece of chocolate, and it was a full blizzard outside. And I was in my long johns, and I literally ran out, made a dash across and pulled out a little square of chocolate that I tried to make last for about 15 minutes, which was probably a pretty low point.
The other major obstacle was the wind.
And it wasn't that I had some massive storms, with 150 mile an hour winds, which you can get down there. It was just a relentless headwind directly into my face at about 20 knots, up to about 28 knots, constantly, every day for about a month.
The weather led to some dark moments.
I didn't see the sun for 6 days. On the second week, I was in a whiteout for 6 days, and I had a solar panel I could charge my iPod with. And obviously it died, so I was walking in just complete silence for 12 hours a day, just staring at the tip of my skis, which was, you sort of lose yourself in the dark recess of your mind, which is not a good place to be.
And the combination of cold and pulling 90 kilos of supplies resulted in some pretty spectacular injuries. Scott trained for the trek for 2 years and says army life is good preparation.
I'll be honest, the coldest I've ever been in my life is still in Brecon on my platoon commander's battle course. So you can go to Antarctica, and Brecon is still the coldest place on Earth. So that put me in very good stead to go down there.
The reason for the trek is to raise money for the Gurkha Welfare Trust to help rebuild following a devastating earthquake in Nepal in 2015.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a great response to trying to raise over £25,000 for the Gurkha Welfare Trust in memory of Rifleman Suraj. So he was the last member of 9 platoon, which was my platoon, to be killed in Afghanistan before I took command. So we're now almost at £40,000, which is fantastic. The more we raise, the more we can do with the Gurkha Welfare Trust out in Nepal, helping to rebuild a school in memory of Rifleman Suraj.
But Scott's not stopping for long. He's back on ops with his regiment in Norfolk.
Well, don't forget you can follow all these stories and more on our Forces Sports Show YouTube channel and at forces.net. In 3 weeks' time, the Inter-Services Snow Sports Championships take place in France. We'll leave you now with highlights from Maribel in 2016.